Hello guys and welcome back to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz and this is the show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. This is part 2 of Liberation by LifeLost. You can hit the annotation on the screen to go back to part 1 if you missed it. And we ended at this puzzle here, and this is kind of an interesting thing to look at because it's possible to brute force it by avoiding half of the puzzle, which I thought was a really interesting design decision. It kind of really leaves things in the player's hands about how they want to do this. So you notice all this steam coming from all the pipes here. You can actually walk through that, but it hurts you when you do so. So it's possible to turn off the electricity and then go along the pipes at the top while taking damage without hitting that valve there, which shortens the puzzle, but you take damage as a player as a result. I've decided to do the full thing here just for demonstration purposes, but it's kind of interesting that that choice is there. Whether it was an oversight or whether it was deliberate, I don't know. I think you can make an argument either way about stuff like this, about whether it's actually useful or decent or not. You know, on one hand it gives the player a choice about how they want to complete the puzzle, but on the other hand, if as a designer, if you have a very specific idea of what you want the player to do, you can kind of get in the way of that. But I think it works well enough here. Now, one thing that felt a little bit consistent about this puzzle is what you've just seen there. Like, a couple of times you'll turn the electricity on and, you know, you'll take a little bit of damage if you're in the water, but not much. And other times it just seems to kill you almost instantly. Yeah, let's try this one again, shall we? So you have to turn the electricity back on to actually open the lift door at the end here. But yeah, I did quite enjoy the fact that you had a kind of a choice with this puzzle. It was nice. A lot of puzzles in Half-Life games, they're very kind of rigid, like you have to do exactly as the designer specified, otherwise you're not going to be able to complete it. So I did appreciate the quote-unquote soft nature of this puzzle, where you could actually complete it multiple ways, but there's a downside to one of them. And now once again, to help split up the map a bit, you've got some more just exploration here. There's no combat. In fact, there's nothing to really find in this area. That may be a ammo pack or two, but it's very, very simple stuff. Just kind of walk around, have a look in a few rooms. And this is because we had a large kind of combat space, and then we had a puzzle space, and now we're just breaking up a little bit more with just some basic exploration in order to proceed here. I talked about this a lot last video, but it's very important to kind of pace out the map like this. You can't just have constant action all the time, or just puzzle after puzzle after puzzle. You really need to break it up to keep people interested. Mental fatigue is a real thing that can happen to gamers. You want to provide variation in your map design so that it's not just constant fighting all the time. And now we get to, I want to say, like just after the midpoint in the map, I guess, where the story really starts to kick in. It's a shame this really didn't happen earlier, because you've been kind of wandering aimlessly until now. There's really been no kind of story or anything. So it's a shame this didn't happen earlier, because this is where the map really takes off. And incidentally, this is a lovely kind of combined room. Although it does have a few navigation issues, which we'll talk about once we find the NPCs. You've got some nice environment storytelling here. There's obviously been a big fight between rebels and the Combine. They've broken out of these cells somehow.
Good to see you, Gordon. It'll be good to have your help going into the Nexus up ahead. Well, Gordon Freeman.
So we find Barney here. All the NPC dialogue is really well kind of scripted out and well thought out. Using all the stock lines from Half-Life 2 in its episodes, they actually managed to create a fairly unique story for the rebels here. And the Barney lines are especially well used. So this combat here is pretty cool. The reason I bring up the navigation issue in this room is because now you've got 3 or 4 or 5 NPCs following you around, and some of these corridors here are very narrow, which can make navigation in them really annoying when you've got a whole bunch of NPCs with you. especially if you want to turn around and walk back where you came. You have to, like, you know, move away like 5 NPCs just to turn around and move backwards a little bit. It can get a little bit claustrophobic. But you can see here, just like they all bundle and get in your way, it can be quite annoying. But it's a fun space to fight in. Now we start seeing the Combine Elite as well. The map definitely picks up into more of an action focus now. I don't think there's any more puzzles in the map actually, it's more kind of like an escape scenario now. It really picks the pace up.
Stabilization delegated. Move to hard point.
You guys coming?
We're gonna see if we can help anyone else get out. We'll follow when we can.
Go on without us. We got stuff to do.
Okay then. Don't take too long about it, yeah?
You bet. Let's go.
Alright, so now we're going to have Barney tag along with us for a while. It's a little bit confusing here. There's a bit of a disconnect here. Once you have Barney and just one of these NPCs follow you around, you're not really sure where to go next. Nothing really kind of changes in the environment. I would have really liked it if they'd pressed a button on one of the consoles there and a door had opened somewhere or something like that. Now the way you do proceed is actually going back the way you came, and a Combined Soldier blows open this door here. But there's nothing for the players to grab onto to know that's going to happen. I would have really liked it if there'd been something changing in this environment here that the player could notice on a monitor or something first, so that they're automatically drawn this way, and then the Combined Soldier blowing open the door feels natural. It's the way they were going anyway. Yeah, a bit of a disconnect there. This area is really fun though, as I accidentally shoot my own guy. This is where I think the authors really found their feet in terms of combat spaces, because it's got some really well thought out areas with interesting kind of combat scenarios in them. And it's just consistently good from now on, and it gets really rather spectacular by the time you reach the end of the map. So I was talking earlier about a second antlion fight, and you're about to see it now. The interesting thing about this is that instead of having Combined Soldiers raining down bullets from above, it's actually your own allies this time. So it's the same scenario, but just kind of different presentation. You don't need to worry about them suddenly attacking you when the antlions are dead, because they're your own troops. Another thing worth noticing here is that you have to drop down out of this window to get into the room. It's the only way down there. And like I spoke a little bit about last video, if there's a one-way kind of section in the map, it always feels better if the player chooses to do it themselves rather than being pushed towards it by the level designer. Here's a great example of that. The player drops out the window and they know it's a one-way trip. So here we've got the same kind of setup as before. It's a little bit more dangerous in that there's still room for a loop in the room, but there's no kind of central structure that blocks kind of line of sight and movement from the antlions. So you end up taking a lot more damage as a result, but it's generally the same setup as before. You've got soldiers shooting down from above helping you, and you have to survive the antlion guard. It's a really, really fun encounter. I love it. It's a great setup. That's probably why I used it twice. I think it would feel really bad if it was just exactly the same kind of setup as before, just, you know, a loop with a divider in the middle, but here it feels new and different.
I'm gonna go ahead and guard this point and keep people moving toward the trains. We'll meet you there.
So Barney's going to stick around here. This is the first time he mentions the trains, which is perhaps another small oversight. You know, you've never heard anything about a train until now. That could be an issue with just there aren't the voice lines for it. So, yeah. Kind of awkward when you haven't got professional voice actors to do lines for you that you need. But, yeah, I think perhaps looking out a window and seeing a combined train and someone making a comment about it, I don't know. But now we have a goal, so we're obviously trying to get to the trains to save all these civilians. The map suddenly feels so much better because we actually have an objective. the one thing that was really missing from it before. And now after that large arena fight, again the map shifts gear into more of a exploration and a little bit of kind of navigation puzzle solving. And I got caught by a barnacle. It still happens. So this area is kind of nice. The water kills the head crabs instantly, which I like. Bloody head crabs. But it's just a simple area just to navigate around. It's kind of fun. The water makes it interesting. You have to destroy these bits here to get up the ladder. A simple but effective area. I like it. Now the map really shifts gear. Everything from now onwards is just absolutely superb, I find. You've got this great area to observe the space in front of you, so that you can understand it a bit before you go out there, understand the situation. You can see the Combine soldiers fighting off the ant lines. I really like it when level designers do this. They give you a good look at the area you're about to go into, usually from some kind of vantage point, so you have an idea of what to expect and what you're going to see down there. I like that. Things like lifts or, you know, a set of spiral staircases that the player has to descend down are a really good way to do this. It gives the player something cool to look at and kind of work out where they're going to go in the map while they're descending, so it's not just a boring ride down. They've actually got something to think about. It's a great way to make slow movement sequences a bit more interesting. And I've got another highly inaccurate Combine automatic rifle sequence. I like the fact that there's like a main alley here with the in-place weapon defending it, but Combine soldiers can actually come down the corridor as well to the side of it, which makes a kind of flanking route, so you have to watch both. Makes this area a lot more interesting. I do like the lighting in this area as well. There's a couple of hotspots which really show the player kind of dangerous areas they should be keeping an eye on, i.e. that corridor by the side of the sentry gun. There's a couple of supply rooms and things like that with warm lighting in which really draw your eye towards it. Like you can see in the distance there, there's a room with a health charger in it. Otherwise the lighting in this area is fairly plain, so it really helps kind of get the player's attention, pick up these items. Again, here you've got the watchtower up there with the warm light in it, which brings the player's eye upwards to notice the Combine sniper up there. Even again here, this little quote-unquote secret area has got a little warm light here, which gets the player to come around. Watch my magic bunny hopping skills. We're getting into the final stages of the map now, and this final area is really, really cool. You finally meet up with Barney and the other rebels, and you're trying to get to the train, the far side of this big area you're about to see here. As I clear out the final Combine resistance here. And this final area is just fantastic. I love replaying it, it's so much fun. Got lovely pacing to it, feels very kind of urgent. You always feel like you're making progress and pushing the Combine back, which I really like. Once Once again, we can climb the ladder on the side of this bin, so at least that's consistent in this mod. Unfortunately, I don't need any of the ammo up here, but there is a supply crate you can grab. Now again, you've got some warm lighting by the exit here to kind of draw the player towards it. And there's a little bit of a puzzle here to open the door. It just involves breaking the boards on the other side, using a grenade. Now, a nice thing about this door is once you break all the boards, the door opens automatically. So it's just another way to get to say to the player, you know, come this way. I can imagine a lot of mods, you'd break all the boards there and the door wouldn't open. So I thought that was quite a nice touch. Now we finally meet up with Barney and the rebels.
Well, man, that's good news.
Yap, yap, yap. Why don't you let Freeman get a word in for once?
Alas!
Where are we supposed to go again?
Yeah, well, we've been planning to make a push on the train station.
Oh, crap! Incoming!
This part's got really nice build up. Again, it's just one giant area divided into lots of small mini objectives. And you see the combine dropship fly overhead, so you know there's going to be a large combine force about to stop you.
Alert. Anti-citizen 1 engaged. Threat level
You can hear the combine overseer voice. It's got this great build up with the music as well. It feels suitably epic. Watch as I lose half my squad to a single grenade in the very first fight. Luckily, LifeLost kind of anticipates this. There's another jail just around the corner where you can actually save some more rebel soldiers and they'll join your squad and help you further on. I thought that was a great insight by the author that, you know, players might lose some of their squad and they might need a refill. So it's great that it's there. Now we can carry on to the next part. There's some nice line of sight blocking going on here, so you're never fighting like a whole area of combine at once. It's kind of divided into lots of small squads and engagements with things like rocks and small buildings kind of blocking the line of sight, so more of the map is slowly revealed to you as you go around. It's really cool. It never overwhelms you with just so many things going on at once. It's all kind of divided up nicely. Now we get the Strider, of course. This Strider fight is pretty cool. You can destroy the sides of the building here as you're inside it, which is quite well done. Although I found that perhaps he doesn't react quite as fast as he should do to where you are in the building. I think there's some kind of proximity triggers placed around the building depending on where you are in it. And he'll shoot parts of the wall depending on where you're standing, but it never really seems to happen fast enough. You can stand in an area for ages and nothing will happen. And then as you walk away, you know, the area will blow up next to you. It's certainly not bad, but I just feel like the Strider's reaction to where you are in the building needs to be slightly quicker. It feels a little bit disconnected as it is right now. But overall, this is a fun fight. You have a couple of options about how you want to engage a Strider. You can stay outside the building, you can stay inside the building and wait for him to blow a few holes in it. It's really up to you how you want to do it. I like it. Blowing all these handy holes for us to shoot him from. Once that's dealt with, we can proceed forwards.
Good job kneecapping that Strider. Okay.
There's a couple of voice lines here that I really don't recognise from Half-Life 2. Maybe it's just been a while since I played it. That's pretty much the end of that assault area. I thought it was a really well put together area. Each area had its own little individual theme and it all kind of coalesced together really well as well. I enjoyed it a lot. got my money's worth on that disintegration ball. So this area is kind of cool. It reminds me a lot of the area just before Nova Prospect in Half-Life 2, where the same kind of ambush happens. You have the Combine throwing flares into that corridor as you're proceeding along the coast. Very similar kind of thing here, but it works. It's fun. Now we're coming up to the end of the level here. There's just a couple more Combine soldiers. Then we can get on the train and escape. And again, when you get to the end here, as you're pressing the button to operate the train, you can look back throughout the entire environment you just came through and see all the destruction you just wrought on it. It's pretty cool. Got like the burning watchtower. You can see all the Combine watch posts in the distance that you walk past. I think it's a cool little gives you a chance to look back on the map and survey your victory, which I like a lot. And that is pretty much the end. So I thought that final assault section was absolutely brilliant. It was brilliantly paced, really fun to play through. And I'm looking forward to what this author pumps out next. It's obviously got a lot of talent. But thank you very much for watching this, guys. I'll be back with some more Half-Life 2 stuff relatively soon, I think, because I want to do a video of The Masked Prisoner, which was a really cool release. That'll probably be a multi-parter as well, because that's quite long. But for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.